+5. Patricia Gibson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. With regards to these PIP changes, the Government has done all it can to avoid parliamentary scrutiny and has ignored the concerns repeatedly expressed by MPs and the Disability Benefits Consortium and the deafening clamour of concerns out there. And there can be no doubt that the consequences of these PIP changes are having a fundamental and life-limiting effect on those affected by them. The whole point of PIP is to help with the extra costs resulting from disability or long-term ill health, replacing DLA. The effect, real or accidental, is a clear discrimination against those living with mental health challenges and could put vulnerable claimants at risk. That was the conclusion of the House of Lords. The Disability Rights Consortium is extremely concerned that these changes will restrict access for disabled people who need PIP in order to face additional costs. Clearly, the criteria is now far too strict, which has resulted in almost 50% of disabled people and people with long-term health conditions losing access to some or all of the support when being assessed. In addition, we know that over 60% of PIP appeals are successful. To those who have had their support withdrawn or reduced, I would say this to them: go to your MP for help. The process is distressing, the process is upsetting, but please appeal any decision which you think is unfair, because over 60% of appeals are successful. This shows on its own that the process is not working, and also shows that the system causes unnecessary distress for far too many claimants. My constituency office in Ardrossan in North Ayrshire and Arran has numerous examples of such cases, leaving claimants confused, frightened, bewildered and in serious financial difficulty. There are also particular concerns around the mobility component, with over 750 returning their Motability vehicles every week due to the withdrawal of essential support. We know from the DWP's own analysis that 146,000 people, disabled people, could lose financial support as they drop from the higher rate of mobility to no entitlement at all. And it's also conceded by the DWP that there is difficulty in predicting these numbers, and so the final numbers losing financial support could be, in fact, much higher. It is vital that the PIP assessment criteria is reviewed to ensure that there are clear definitions in place before any changes. The criteria is far too narrow and far too restrictive, and simply does not recognise the impact that many long-term conditions and disabilities have on a person's ability to undertake daily living activities, and often fails to take account of hidden and fluctuating symptoms, including cognitive difficulties. And what kind of people are suffering under this system? Those with MS, those with Parkinson's, those with serious chronic conditions. Indeed, often those with such conditions very often suffer from depression and anxiety. If that is not specifically and separately diagnosed as far as PIP assessments are concerned, it doesn't exist. Those with long-term conditions and disabilities which include depression and anxiety are a common symptom which will not score under the original descriptor. These changes, Mr Speaker, on top of the arbitrary cut of £30 a week to ESA work-related activity group, which is also due to be imposed, show the complete disregard for disabled people in this government. How can putting disabled people into greater hardship help to remove barriers that will help them get back into work? Where are the disability employment support programmes outlined in the Green Paper? We need to treat disabled people with dignity and respect, and this government needs to listen and show some compassion and understanding, and stop trying to build an austerity programme on the backs of the poor and the disabled.